The Gentleman is the latest film from director Guy Ritchie, acting as a return to form for the director, who's been occupied with big tentpoles like King Arthur and Aladdin. The Gentleman carries the spirit of Guy Ritchie's early crime films like Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, acting as a companion piece to those films. The movie stars an ensemble including Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Henry Golding, Michelle Dockery, Jeremy Strong, Eddie Marsan, Colin Farrell and Hugh Grant. The Gentleman follows Matthew McConaughey as Mickey Pearson, a drug kingpin in London looking to cash out his business. This draws the attention of other drug lords and shady conmen attempting to steal, bribe and blackmail their way into taking Mickey's business. The Gentleman is framed in an interesting narrative structure where a good portion of the plot is told to us in conversation between Hugh Grant's outrageous conman reporter Fletcher and Charlie Hunnam as the hitman Raymond, before the plot eventually catches up and carries on. With that in mind, the narrative structure is fairly similar to how Deadpool was laid out, where the first half of that movie is told in flashbacks before eventually catching up to the present. That being said, The Gentleman does take a bit of time for its plot to really kick in, as for a good portion of the runtime, the movie relies on the quick-cut Guy Ritchie lad banter and dialogue that a lot of people know and love, with people shouting "F this" and "See you next Tuesday," mixed with plenty of Guy Ritchie's energy, style and violence, including a visually impressive opening credit scene. For Guy Ritchie fans, that's all they're gonna want. But for myself personally, the movie didn't quite connect with me until the plot really started to kick in, and eventually started to get more of a sense of what was happening. The Gentleman is Guy Ritchie back in his wheelhouse and working on his strengths, creating fun, often hilarious characters shouting at each other in Cockney accents. For the most part, the cast are all highly entertaining and purposely over the top, with both Hugh Grant and Colin Farrell being absolutely phenomenal. Both actors dropping all sorts of filthy one-liner insults, with Colin Farrell in particular being allowed to just go off in his native Irish accent. Other hilarious standouts include Henry Golding and Eddie Marsan, both just eating up the screen with their ridiculous characters. Matthew McConaughey, on the other hand, who I usually really enjoy, feels like he's in a completely different movie. Even though he's this big kingpin in the movie and receives top billing, McConaughey just gets pushed to the side and feels out of place. Additionally, all of his lines and dialogue feel like rejected takes from his infamous Lincoln commercial. Charlie Hunnam is fine, he's the charming tough guy that he usually plays, and receives a hefty amount of screen time. However, he's often overshadowed by the more over-the-top performers like Hugh Grant. With the exaggerated style and tone of the film, the Gentleman occasionally sneaks in some meta fourth wall gags, which I'll admit I didn't mind, and found these gags rather cheeky and funny. These gags aren't subtle in the slightest though, with characters calling out the progression of the plot, or straight up referencing other Guy Ritchie films. It's an interesting approach to take, but it keeps the movie funny and engaging, letting audiences know that the film understands what it is, and is willing to bend some filmmaking rules to keep the film entertaining. The Gentleman is a crowd-pleasingly filthy return to form for Guy Ritchie, who fully embraces the filmmaking style and Snatch formula that made him a name in the first place. This is definitely not a movie for everyone. Some of the violence and constant swearing will definitely turn some people off, and it falls into some of the narrative trappings that Deadpool 1 had, so it'll be interesting to see how the humor and plot hold up after multiple viewings. If you are a Guy Ritchie fan though, or you want a crime comedy that doesn't take itself too seriously, then The Gentleman is absolutely an entertaining watch. The Gentleman gets a 7.5 out of 10 from me. Guys, I hope you liked this review. If you want to see more reviews just like this one, stay right here for your mono fix. Bye guys.